Town centre car parking. Any Councillor Bernard?
Not a modification, and you'll forgive me that I don't want to relitigate, but I wasn't here at the time when you were discussing this particular section. I just wonder whether or not there should be some provision being made for bike parking, cyclist parking.
I couldn't agree more.
I think we do have some, but I know this specifically refers to car parking, but if you're going to do up the town centre and have the domain and all that sort of thing, you should also make more provisions for bikes parking.
And I would expect that to be done within the individual plans for the streets to be done, because they can be positioned on street widening, paving widening areas, rather than what this section is talking about, which is just, hey look, we do still have to keep an eye on cars and the like. So some of that policy and some of that discussions coming through should come through in the flavour of the individual street upgrades.
Okay, as long as that's not lost during the process of time.
All right, thank you. Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first paragraph, I've just got a question mark here, because in actual fact we do have reserved parking for events in the Great Lakes Centre, and at times at the Museum and Art Gallery there are restriction signs put out. So do we need to note that in a document of this sort of high level?
I think we should note, if it's not already in there, that ongoing work will result in rearrangement of this pool. Street upgrades might lose some in some places and it might gain some in others. And I think we should note that just because there is a pool sitting over here, that the mechanics of that and how it operates may well change. If it's not reflected in there, then I agree. I think it should be reflected. The main discussion at the beginning was around the fact that there is this pool that's going to continue to be managed. Even just looking at the bylaw every 3 years and changing some of this time restrictions as management of it. We may come, as we do the work through the structure plan, we may come to have a lot more variety of timing, a lot more 30-minute stuff and key locations, mobility parking, all that sort of stuff will continue to be under review.
I quite agree with that, Mr. Chairman. The point I'm making is that while it is often a pool for the whole of the town centre, if you take the Tongariro Domain recreational venues, then there is occasionally reserved parking required for daytime conferences at the Great Lakes Centre.
Yes.
And I think we need to note that, otherwise we give a wrong signal. And I know I've had calls from members of the public saying that they've had real difficulty finding a park because their park outside the Great Lakes Centre at the back was taken because of a conference. In actual fact, it's not their park. It's potentially able to be reserved for conferences. So can we have something in there, Mr. Chairman, about that?
It's actually not street public parking. It is off-street facility parking. And that we can make some discussion.
I'm just trying to help the operation of the venues, Mr. Chairman, because it is difficult also for the Great Lakes Centre staff at times when they get challenged.
All right. Any other comments on that page? 57. The map.
Yeah.
Councillor Hogan.
Why doesn't the Story Place Road reflect what actually happens?
That is the road. That's the legal road. This is just a base map from the district plan showing where the pedestrian precinct is, in order to reflect some of that discussion on that page and on the next page about where there might be some car parking changes in the future.
So that little road going back down round to Redoubt Street then is just
Reserve Road.
It's Reserve Road. Okay.
Yep. Just a query here, guys. It's only a query. The first map that shows us town centre the whole, like this map here, right in front of me. And the changes that we've made to it in the road, and we still haven't finally discussed that, because I'm going to come back to that. As you will know, there's been some issues raised. Once that map, we've finally decided on that, as during our deliberations, and like the pizza, and I've got the minutes here with regards to the Robert Street end and all that.
The pizza.
And that first map right in the front, if we agree that that's the map, all subsequent maps, i.e. like this one, shouldn't we be using that map so those roads are shown on our original discussion or not? Because this is where the confusion rises.
Yeah.
Yes.
They read the map at the front.
What's this thing?
Oh, council's changed all those roads. And there's the map on page, whatever it is, page 12. And now I look at this and I go, but hang on a minute. They're showing me the precinct in that lovely purple. But what happened to the Story Place Road? What happened to the Ferry Road? What happened to the Redoubt Street Road?
And that's
So what I'm saying is, once we've decided on that map, shouldn't all subsequent maps pertaining to different aspects of downtown here be the same map?
the difference. Well, no, not necessarily, and I think that's what we were talking about, and what we were talking about when Councillor Hickling raised the reserve management plan. Your maps are going to be different because they're going to be showing different information from time to time, but the policy and the direction that this provides should at least be considered during the review of those. So, for example, this planning map may change in respect to zoning come the district plan change and some of the provisions that are being suggested, but the GIS layer of what's public street for the purposes of designating streets and things like that would only change if you vested or closed public street. For example, one day the Redoubt Street, if it wasn't to be revested, its realignment would change a base map. But those elements proposed in the structure plan map can't be reflected in here until the district plan's done a review and picked it up as a district plan provision. And not all of them will become district plan provisions.
I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Gibbs, but where I'm coming from, and I know exactly, I understand it. If I don't understand it, I shouldn't be sitting in this chair. I understand it very well. But I'm talking about Citizen Joe when I go out there. They read the first map in the front where we've made all the changes, okay, like I've just discussed. And then we get to a map like this, and there's the precinct stuck over the top. Hang on a minute. What's happened to Story Place? Yes. Have they changed their mind now? You follow where I'm coming from? I know where you're coming from because you're talking planning speak. I'm talking it keep it simple, stupid speak. Mr. Carroll.
I agree with you that basically all the other maps will change. Is it a case of just putting some sort of notation on this particular map and explaining its status as a district plan map? And
well, I'm fine, so long as we can, because even some councillors in the room here are confused. Councillor Kelly.
There might be a very simple outcome for this. Would it be okay, for example, to put District Plan 2007 as distinct from what you've got on there, which is 27th of August 2010? In other words, the title is the time at which the original map went into the district plan. So it just becomes 2007 at the top.
I'm fine.
Or even existing district plan provisions
2007 or something.
I only
like
raise
that.
it because people get confused.
No. But you will always have documents. The principles of a district planning map are that they only show information for which the district plan is responsible for.
That's right.
So future planned roads, unless they're going to be designated in the district plan, don't go in the district plan.
I understand that. Councillor Kelly.
And Mr. Chairman, under the legend, I think there needs to be just a brief explanation, very similar to what Mr. Gibbs has just made. No reserve roads or whatever, just to explain that this is for district plan purposes. Therefore, e.g., no reserve roads are marked.
Yes, fine with that. Councillor Fagan.
Yeah, incidentally, you have over on just to the west of the Words Ferry Road, that area marked out is the landing reserve.
That looks like the title lines.
That is a title line.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's where you can see the women's club a little bit sticking into it.
Councillor Hedley?
Just 56, just going back to 56, Richard. The photograph of that particular car park, do you think that within this town centre car parking area that we should refer to either some landscaping of these car parks? Because to my mind that is not a good description of a nice car park for people to actually use.
And I think I've got a
And
photo.
I know it looks like that,
Yes.
but it shouldn't.
No, and it's not a good example. Our urban designers, I suspect, would not want to do it.
Yeah.
Tennyfar Street's probably a slightly better example.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of softening.
Yeah.
And also, we may, of course, in the future, this doesn't talk about exactly what will be done in the future.
No.
You could sell one car park and develop another car park and do it with all sorts of arrangements and make it nicer, and it may go up or it may go down, and there may be multi-use like retail at ground floor to activate space.
Yeah.
And this doesn't say what will happen. What this says is that you've got this pool out there. There's a couple of thousand or so on the street, and there's this many, and they're working reasonably well, and there's nothing in the structure plan to stop any of that of working. So there's still going to be cars on streets, and there'll still be parking on streets. But we have to keep an eye on it. But we have solutions up our sleeve. We're lucky that we have those sites that we can work on. And I can tell you how lucky we are. There are not many towns in New Zealand that have any long-term parking free. And that's our size too, that's not cities. So we've got options, and that's what it's talking about.
58, over the page, district plan provisions. Councillor Kelly?
I think the district planner wrote it, Mr. Chairman. Looks all right to me.
Yeah, it does to me. Public transport, 59. See that map?
Yep.
That's my point. Councillor Fagan?
Yeah, on the second sort of key to that map, it's got a little green ... potential extension of loop to integrate key features. I can't find that little dotted green bit.
It's unfortunately, I think because it's over the roads, it's not come out as clear. Now you'll see it at the bottom
Oh, okay.
around the
Along
Lake
the lake.
Terrace realignment, and you'll see it along Tamamutu Street, and it's indicative of the ability to expand how your bus moves around town will still function all right.
It looks as though it goes down through, Tamamutu, I can see it on there now.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, well, the map's wrong, but apart from that.
Councillor McGilly?
Mr. Chairman, I just wonder, the fourth paragraph on page 59.
Yep.
It has been decided to leave the current intercity facility on Gascoigne Street. That is not owned by council. I think that needs to be worded a little differently. It has been decided to support the retention of that in that area.
It is owned by council.
We own that.
It is owned by us, and it's leased, is it?
And it's leased, yeah.
My apologies. Take it all back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Strategic purchases.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments on that page, please?
Perhaps that, Mr. Chairman, perhaps that could be included then in the
Thank you.
sentence, that it's a council-owned area.
All right. Nothing else on that page? Building height?
Can we just go back a bit? I've had a
Yes.
blank moment here.
Where are you going back to?
Page 59. Did we actually decide on this business about the potential location of parallel bus bays within Tongariro Street?
We in your decision, it reflects that there used to be the two areas, one to the north and one to the south. Reflects to the north that you didn't want it shown. but I thought there was a consensus that there would at least be some continued